If you are in the beginning stages of your sales career, you know that sales prospecting is one of the most essential skills that you absolutely must have when it comes to excelling in your sales career. And that's essentially the process of turning total strangers into paying customers. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the 3 most essential skills you absolutely must have if you wanna succeed in sales prospecting. And you wanna make sure you watch this video until the end, because if you are missing just one of these critical skills, that's gonna mean the difference between success and total failure. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's dive in. So the first skill when it comes to sales prospecting that you absolutely must have is having the ability to identify pains. Now, it's not enough just to memorize a script and talk about your products and services, right? Anybody can do that, but that's not really true selling. Real selling and real prospecting is all about first being able to identify pains, understanding what challenges your customers may potentially have, and positioning your product and service as the solution to those pains. Because if somebody doesn't realize that they have a pain or they have some type of problem, then it's gonna be very difficult for them to spend so much money to buy your products and services. And like I always say, no pain, no sale. So when it comes to being able to do sales prospecting successfully, you gotta ask the question, how successful can you be when it comes to looking for pains, right? Can you go onto a company's website, right? And have no idea who they are, but just go on their website and be able to quickly identify potential problems that they may have within, let's say, 1 minute, even if you have no idea who they are. And that's the skill you have to develop if you want to succeed in sales prospecting. Now you might be thinking, how are you going to be able to identify a customer's pain in 1 minute before you even talk to them just by looking at their website? And the trick is you have to first understand generally who your ideal customer is, right? If you're selling some type of product and service, before you even do any type of sales prospecting, which is reaching out to customers you wanna work with, you have to first understand, well, why exactly should someone even buy your product and service, right? What pains do these people have that would drive them to spend big bucks on whatever you have to sell? Once you understand that concept, you can go out and find all these different companies that may potentially have a problem that you can solve. And so by looking at a company's website, you should be able to quickly filter out, is this company a potential fit to buy my product and services? How many employees do they have? How much revenue do they probably make, right? Do they have a problem that I can solve? And if you can quickly identify that by just looking at a company's website, which you absolutely can, well, you're gonna be able to sales prospect much more successfully than people who cannot see that. And once you actually, understand if a company has some type of pain when you send out, let's say, a cold email, a LinkedIn message, or if you actually have to cold call them, right? You have a lot more leverage and you have a lot more talking points to get the conversation going if you already correctly assume their pains. If you're not able to assume their pains and understand what they're going through, no matter what you say, you are not going to get them to respond to your messages, right? Because why would somebody respond to you if there's no pain? And once you start successfully doing this and you start booking meetings, you talk to potential customers over the phone and you ask them questions and you ask them what their challenges are, then you have concrete proof and evidence of that, whether or not you were right about those pains. And if you were correct, then that means you can go out to more companies and see who else has that problem that you're gonna be able to solve. So as you can see in the beginning, you're kind of guessing, making assumptions based on previous customers that your company had. And then from there, once you're getting on the phone, you really get a concrete understanding of why exactly people should buy your product and services. And you can therefore successfully prospect even better because you're really narrowing down and identifying those pain points. Now, the next essential skill you absolutely must have when it comes to modern day sales prospecting is once you identify a person's pain, how many companies that have this pain can you actually find? Now, I've seen a lot of veteran salespeople who try to get into startup sales or technology sales, and a lot of times they're not able to make that transition successfully because they don't know how to quickly find companies to work with. And a lot of times it's because they're not able to use technology quick enough, right? So the first thing you have to ask yourself when it comes to sales prospecting is, once you identify a person's pain, how many of these companies can you find that have that problem, and how fast can you actually do it, right? So if you're a salesperson and let's say you're building a prospecting list, list of people that you potentially want to reach out to, right? And let's say you're selling to small, medium businesses. If you spend all day and you're only able to find, let's say 20 companies a day that you might be able to reach out to, it's not going to be enough, because out of those 20 companies, how many of them will actually take a meeting with you and how many will actually buy, right? And if the number is very low, then you're not going to be able to sell anything, and therefore your sales prospecting, well, it's not very effective. But if you're very quick with the technology, you're able to look at company's website and be like, okay, this guy might be a good fit, add them to the list, and you're able to find, let's say, 100 companies per day. Now you're really moving up, and now you're moving a lot faster than everybody else, right? So the question is, how many companies can you find that fit your ideal customer profile, and how fast can you do it? Because speed is very important when it comes to modern day sales prospecting. And it's not just about how fast you can build a list, but you also have to look at what is the quality of this list, right? Meaning when you are going to a company's website and you're trying to decide whether or not you should add them to your list of people you should prospect into, well, do you have any pre-filters or pre-qualifications before you put this person on your list? For example, are you going by their employee size or how much revenue they have to pre-qualify whether or not they can even afford your product and services, right? There has to be some type of qualification. It could be other things like, for example, are they using a certain technology like Shopify, or do they have an Instagram account, or are they running Facebook ads, right? Depending on what you're selling, you're gonna have different pre-qualifications before putting someone on your list. So whatever it is you are selling, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, what are the things that people need to, check the box on before I put them on the list? The more boxes you can check, the more higher quality the list. The higher quality the list, well, the more responsive people are going to be when you send that cold email, cold call them, or LinkedIn message. And just because you have a big list, or maybe you bought a list from somewhere, doesn't mean you're going to be successful at prospecting, right? It's all about, first, volume, right? How many people are on the list? And the second thing is quality. How good is that list, right? Because if you have a big list and you're just spamming everybody, well, that's not gonna work, because people are gonna report you as spam and your messages are not going to go through. So that's why quality is very important. Now, the next skill that we have for you to be successful at sales prospecting is going to be copywriting. Now, when it comes to sales, people always think that, it's all about talking over the phone, talking in person, presentation, negotiation, which it is. However, when it comes to the sales prospecting aspect of sales, copywriting is going to be extremely critical, okay? So in modern sales, a lot of times you're actually just sending cold emails and LinkedIn messages because it's a lot more scalable than cold calling. You might also include cold calling in that process, right? To reach people that are really hard to reach. However, when you're going for like volume, you're trying to reach out to hundreds of different people, cold email and LinkedIn is a lot more effective in that way. So to successfully send, for example, a cold email and get someone to actually respond to you and book a meeting, what are the influential factors that are going to determine if you get that meeting? And that's actually going to come down to copywriting, right? What exactly are you writing in your subject line, the body of your copy, the call to action at the end? How are you persuading and intriguing someone's curiosity enough to actually get them to book a meeting with you, even if they have no idea who you are? So copywriting is essentially your ability to sell with words. Fortunately for sales, you don't have to spend years and years learning how to do copywriting, but you definitely need to understand the fundamentals of how to get people to respond, how to write an email in a certain way that gets read. For example, what type of words you use, the spacing of the actual email so people actually read it, how you talk about a person's pain and intrigue the curiosity, and how you actually get them to take some type of call to action, meaning what is it that they're gonna do at the end of actually reading that email, right? So all these fundamental skills you absolutely must have if you want to succeed in sales prospecting, especially if you're first using cold email or LinkedIn to actually generate interest before you actually book the call. And so with that said, those are gonna be my top 3 skills you absolutely must need when it comes to sales prospecting. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. And if you want to learn more about sales and sales prospecting, make sure to check out my other videos. And one last thing, let me know in the comments, what's your #1 challenge when it comes to sales prospecting, and I can help make a future video to help you out. With that said, my name is Patrick Dang, and I am going to see you guys in the next one.